Nice. Nice. And that's all. All right, Hickok 45. Yes, still another firearm. This is Schmidt-Rubin 1911 carbine. K11 it's referred to by some folks. And it is from Switzerland. Swiss 1911 carbine. Okay, interesting gun. I have never fired one quite like it. Let's load the magazine here while I'm gabbing. But this one has a different sort of bolt, as you can see. It has a straight pull. This was, I guess, would be the most successful straight pull in history. It was used for a long time. The Schmidt-Rubin started out in 1889, and then all the way up into about 1957, I think, as the rifle of Switzerland, and even in use up into the 70s, as I understand, in various units. Now, it was a different rifle. It went through some evolution there. The 1889 model, and then the 96, the 1911, and then the one that's most widely known is the K31 that was used then on up. And it was about the same size, just a few modifications. So let me get my ears back on. You noticed as I shot those first shots that I was just pulling straight back on the bolt. It's called a straight pull. There's no lift it up, pull it back, and then lock it back down. It's got a cam operation there. I'll give you a look at it. Getting the old perspiration here as summer moves in. What else do we have to shoot here? All right, let's try that plate again while I can see. I went over it. I guarantee I went over it. All right. I see another 2-liter there. It needs popping. That does the job. Now, if I can see well enough, I'll try. I've got one round left. Let's try a soft 12-ounce there. I have the usual problem with the sights. Little bitty groove. Well, I mean to tell you, it's a real challenge. That's a pretty nifty gun, though, I have to say. This is a loaner from the same fellow who lent us the Krag. He has some nice bolt guns, doesn't he? You see this this groove here, the camming action. That's what enables it to have a straight pull. You just push it in, and that slides around, locks in. It's a very interesting design, and it goes way back, like I said, to 1889. And rifle, this is the 1911 carbine. So this is a handy size. What is that? You see, as you push it in, it has that camming action. You got the groove. It gets into the groove inside here, like rifling, and it turns. It was weird. The first time I shot it, I brought it up, and okay, here we go. I felt like, wow, hope that doesn't come, because that's a big round. In case you knows, it's like a 308 on steroids. I thought, yeah, this thought in the back of my head that, because all I'm doing is pushing that forward. What if it knocks that right back into my eye, but it locks in because of that camming action. Pretty interesting. Let me take that out real quick. It's very simple. First, you push down on this lever, and you see how it's designed to spin. See your lugs there. They're getting grooves in here, and it turns as you're pushing. So it's actually locked. So it's a pretty interesting design, I'll have to say, by old Mr. Schmidt and Rubin. Now, Schmidt designed the rifle, as I understand, and Rubin the cartridge. And let's get started. There There you go. See it? There's a magazine out so it's free to turn and spin. This is your safety right here. Right there's in fire position. You just grab it like that and lock it, or you can bring it all the way over there and it just disables everything, locks it up. You can't pull the bolt back. You can't do anything. You know, if you're not expecting any kind of ambush or trouble, you could have her around the chamber. Don't know how they were trained to carry them, but nothing's going to happen because you're locked in. You're locked into safe with that. And as I understand, the reason they have that big ring there, you know, if you're wearing a little newsflash in Switzerland, there's a little bit of snow and it's cold in places. So even with heavy gloves, you know, you could grab that ring. That's one reason that ring is so large there, and turn the safety off and everything. Okay, so I'll put it on. Pretty neat gun. Very, very interesting. And in a lot of ways, it's like the Krag, and that it's a different sort of design. Isn't it? Very, very different from our standard bolt guns. So with this one, it's the bolt itself, and with the Krag, it was the magazine that's so different. Loading operation. So, I'll tell you, this is a big round. If I meant to bring out 308. It is. It's very much like a 308, just bigger. Not gigantic, but just a little bigger. It's on steroids, kind of. So significant. And the rounds I'm firing, it's 7.5 by 55, the Swiss round, and it is available. There's not a lot of people loading it, but it is available. I found these, and I found the Hornady, and so got ammo from I think Cheaper Than Dirt and from the AIM surplus. So got a little ammo for it, and we're in business. Now this is, let me take that out again, just here, and that works. Bolt. Now the one that's very, very well known, more so than the 1911, because this one goes back even further, doesn't it? In 1931, they reduced some of the weight and size of the bolt. So the 31, if you know someone who has one of these guns, it's more likely to be the 31, the K31. Same gun basically, same length I think, and in the same configuration, but it's all slightly reduced, okay? And just made lighter and smaller, and as much as they could, okay? And then the K31, there are more of those out there, and it's more widely available. If I were to buy one of these, and I think I might be tempted, I guess I'd look for a K31. I don't know. But it was used for a long time in a lot of wars, right? Yeah, see, 1911, 1889, that'd take you through a lot of different wars. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, whatever. Maybe they helped there? No. If you know any of the history of Switzerland, what do you know about Switzerland? They're famous for their neutrality, aren't they? They're really famous for that. They don't bother anybody, and they don't expect to be bothered. And they're very good at manufacturing things like this, designing and manufacturing precision instruments. They'd probably be good at making watches, be my guess, if they ever got into that, right? Because they make great rifles. They know how to build things, and they have a philosophy of living that is kind of leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. And there's a lot of myths surrounding that, and a lot of misinformation probably. You just have to kind of find what you can. I have heard stories, I don't know, for decades about, I may have gotten an extra round there, about the Swiss, how everybody is required to have a rifle and ammunition at their house, you know. And then someone said, well, no, they're not required to. And I have heard, and I've even read different stories. And what I'm asking is, you folks that are Swiss, chime in on the comments and tell us what the situation is now in Switzerland. As I understand, it's not quite the same, that you're not required to have a rifle in your house, and that especially ammo, although I have seen comments from people from Switzerland on various videos that have seemed to know what obviously is going on if they're truly from Switzerland, that nowadays, as I understand from those comments I've seen, that when you're in service, you have a fully automatic, some kind of SIG, 250, 590, whatever their model is, and you're allowed to keep it when you are finished with your serving, and they convert it to semi-auto. Okay, I've seen that comment. Now back in the day, depending on which day, I know they did. They're like the ultimate in Minutemen. You know, when you think of a militia and being ready, they're perpetually ready. Everybody has had a rifle at the house with ammunition, and that's their setup. You have your rifle, you have your ammo, and you're ready to go. That's how they defend their country, because they're more concerned with defense than offense of any kind. So you don't mess with them. Everybody has ammo, everybody has a rifle. That's the way it was, you know, in the past. I'm not sure it's still that way exactly. I saw a video of a guy, 40-ish, I don't know what his age was, but he was at a locker in Switzerland, and he was showing the gun that belonged, the rifle, one of these of some sort, that belonged to his father. He was pointing out that his grandfather's was hanging in the living room. His was in this locker, and his son's was in this locker. They all had their rifles. You know, it's just a part of their culture. It's a shooting, marksmanship culture. So it's really an interesting country. It's just that I think sometimes it gets exaggerated, and there's some misinformation. But I know, generally speaking, that they all kept rifles at the house. I'm not sure they still do, but they kept the rifle and ammunition there, and were expected to. And that they all serve in the quote-unquote military. They all serve, kind of like Israel does, you know, from the age whatever, 18 or 21 on up to 40 or something. You have to serve and learn to shoot, and then you have a rifle. Now, how much that has changed in recent years, I'm not sure. So maybe some of you all that live there, our Swiss, can update us. That would be very interesting, okay? Now, if you're sitting in a bar in Alabama, don't come online, pretend to be living in Switzerland, okay, please? Let's take a couple more shots. Pretty interesting gun. Here we go on safe, take it off safe, and fire. Oh, we have a watermelon left, don't we? See if we can shoot that without hitting that plate. My pad came off, didn't it? That's all right. It was ugly anyway. But it helps me see better. All right. Well, it's quick to work. Oops, got one hung up there. In my pocket. High, I guarantee you. All right. Now, the reason I'm sure I went high is this gun is designed, the closest distance the sights are set up for, or as I understand, 300 meters. And that's not quite 300 meters over there. And so I'm having to hold, I don't know, about 8 inches, 6-8 inches at least below that red plate to hit it. So I'm aiming at dirt, or yeah, at dirt. And so it's a matter of trying to aim at the right place, okay? So this is quite an interesting gun. And one thing that makes it interesting is the fact that Switzerland is so different, and that they've really not been to war since the days of Napoleon. They just have these firearms, and they're interesting guns, and they work. And there's no history of grabbing one of these and thinking about how it was dragged through Europe during World War II or anything like that, because it's just not the case. They were kept in their homes and ready for war, but they didn't get messed with. They didn't mess with anybody, and didn't get messed with. You know, for that reason. The other reason, of course, is that Switzerland is not an easy place to invade, right? So interesting design. I'll take a couple more. I'll load that back up. But I'm really glad to be able to bring this thing to the video world. I just was not that familiar with it. And I, again, appreciate the loan of it. Let's take that one out of my pocket. Let me find it there. There it is. It's not boogered out. It's got a little bit of a cut on it over there. Significant round, no doubt about it. There we go. 6 in the magazine. Okay, there is a clip for loading these. I don't have it. But magazine loads very, very easily. This takes a little bit of force, but not much. There, it's locked. That's where it should be. Okay, and again, on safe, and you get your ladder on sight there. At least everything about it seems to be precision. It has a nice sight. It's not easy for me to see. I got a little groove there, a little baby groove. Now, if it were my gun, there's some things I could do. I could I could paint the front there a little bit with some white outline. That would help me. And I don't know what else I could do to improve that. But the main thing about these guns is not trying to, for me, see what I can do at 500 yards with them. It's just enjoying the history of it and the design and shooting it. I mean, this gun, by the way, I looked up the serial number. It's 1927 manufacture. So it's been around a little while, almost as long as I have. I'm going to come down here if I have to get point blank and hit these 12-ounce soft drinks. All right. I'm not going to give up. It's unsafe. All right. There we go. Can't see the sights too well, and I have to hold low, so I have to allow for all that. I don't want to shoot that metal plate. All right, nice. What else we have here? Anything? There's a cinder block. Let me back up a little bit. There's the end of a cinder block. I'll see what I can do to him. Took care of that, didn't it? One shot left. Let's shoot that block of wood there. Come on. Interesting gun. Interesting gun. Schmidt-Rubin. Some of you all probably are experts in these things, know a lot about them, and I know just enough to be dangerous. Again, the different models, and again, the K31 is the more popular one, the more common one, and if people are looking for one, that's the one they're usually looking for. But just a fascinating bolt, and the history, you know, with the Swiss and how they were just fervently independent, you know, and made sure that everybody had one of these and was trained with it and ready to go, you know, if needed. I saw this gun referred to as the gun of neutrality, you know, the Schmidt-Rubin, and there's a lot of truth to that, isn't there? So quite an interesting piece, and they're available, they're around. I think these run, I don't know, 300, 400 bucks, something like that, maybe, depending, 250 to 4, best I could tell. I'm not sure what the K31s sell for, but a fascinating design and a very interesting country when it comes to firearms. Lots of differences between Switzerland and every other country around the world when it comes to how they feel about firearms in general. I've seen a few disturbing reports about how that is changing, and the shooting ranges are not as common there, and all that sort of thing. But again, if you have more information on that and you're from that area or you visited there, how about sharing it with us? It'd be interesting to know the truth about what's going on, you know, today in Switzerland. But anyway, fine rifle, the Schmidt-Rubin 1911 carbine. I hope you enjoyed seeing that thing. Life's pretty good.